Nigeria. Welcome to Newsline. I'm Becky Madujemu. The countdown is 3 days to Christmas. It's already in the air and everyone is excited. People are shopping, attending the various shows in town, hosting and honoring invitations. The last moments of 2019 are totally fun-filled, and we are here to add color to the vibrant season with apt reports that will keep you glued to your screen. How do they say it again? Party after party, right? So much festivities to savor. The celebration train is long and entertaining. There is also remarkable charity going on this period. People are sharing in cash and kind to loved ones and the needy. There's not a dull moment in our Christmas edition, so sit back and enjoy the agenda after the news by Elizabeth Omori. Merry Christmas, Liz.
Merry Christmas, Becky. It's nice to see you and welcome to the news segment of Newsline. The federal government has rejected the U.S. designation of Nigeria as a country that engages in or tolerates severe violation of religious freedom. Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, pointed out that the religious tag stems from an orchestrated narrative that has long been discredited.
Lai Mohammed maintained that the good people of Nigeria enjoy unfettered freedom to practice their religion and therefore blamed failed politicians and disgruntled elements, some of them supposedly respected leaders, for latching on the religion as their trump card, especially in the run-up to the last general elections to oust the Buhari administration. The statement described as unfortunate that the United States fell for the antics of the discontented and unpatriotic few who will not hesitate to hang Nigeria out to dry on the altar of their inordinate ambition and their sheer animosity towards the present administration under President Muhammadu Buhari. The minister maintained that the Nigerian government is acutely aware of how the political opposition, in particular, had spared no resources in deriving political capital from the various security challenges in the country through deliberate effort to give religious coloration to the farmers' herders' clashes and the Boko Haram insurgency in particular. These acts have undoubtedly helped to mislead the U.S. into concluding that the government is doing little or nothing to guarantee religious freedom in the country. However, Lai Mohammed stressed that the farmers' herders' clashes have nothing to do with religion, but everything to do with environmental and socio-economic realities. And so the religious tag given to the clashes has no basis, but a very convenient platform for those who will very easily give a dog a bad name just to hang it. For Boko Haram terrorists, the statement stressed that the group is an extreme fanatic one who do not subscribe to the tenets of any religion, in spite of their pretense to Islamic adherence. Mohammed said the good news is that the government has succeeded in curbing the farmers' herders' clashes through the implementation of proactive and multidimensional strategy, which is yielding remarkable results, just as it has largely defeated the Boko Haram insurgency. On the El Zakzaki issue, which was referred to in the report by the U.S. government, the Information and Culture Minister described it as a purely criminal matter, which is being handled by a court of competent jurisdiction. While calling for better understanding of the Nigerian situation, the minister said while the Nigerian government welcomes constructive criticism from any quarter, it rejects any attempt to sow the seed of mistrust among the various religious groups in the country.
And in other news, the Buhari Media Organization has described the arrest of former Attorney General and Minister of Justice Mohammed Adoke, SAN, by operatives of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC) on arrival from Dubai as an indication that there's no hiding place for politically exposed persons who have questions to answer on their activities while in office. In a statement, the group noted that Adoke's arrest by the EFCC would help shed light on issues surrounding the controversial granting of the Oil Prospecting License OPL 245 to Shell and Eni during the Goodluck Jonathan administrative years. Now to migration matters. The federal government says all returning migrants across the country will always be given proper reintegration for self-reliance. To this end, Libya returnees from Delta State have been provided with starter packs by the National Commission for Refugees, Migrants and Internally Displaced Persons after undergoing skills acquisition training in Asaba, Delta State. Austin Edemodu reports.
Cross-section of Libya returnees taking turns to receive their certificates and starter packs after undergoing weeks of training in hairdressing and barbing. Some of the returnees, including Favor Jean, a mother of one, see the gesture as a great relief after a terrifying experience as a migrant in Libya.
When I was in Libya, I regretted of going there because while the job there was a very terrible one. I must congratulate the president, the governors, and all the commissioners, the task force, and the migrants itself for what they have done.
And the verb of me trying to cross to Europe through the Mediterranean Sea, so we are deported back. Today, they are trying to empower us with starter packs to start off our career again.
The Federal Commissioner, National Commission for Refugees, Migrants and Internally Displaced Persons, Bashiru Mohammed, represented by Migration Officer Chinenye Wabugu, says there will be constant monitoring and evaluation of the program. Over 70 returnees from Libya of Delta State origin benefited from the readmission and reintegration exercise, which is ongoing across the 36 states of the Federation. I'm Austin Edemodu, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the 2 Nigerians mistakenly sent to Bosnia refugee camp by the Croatian police are back home in the country with stories not so palatable on how they were treated. Here is Oyeyemi Ajayi to tell us more on how it all happened.
They drove again for about 4 hours and then
in the night
stopped, brought everybody down and told us to sign the paper and that was written in their language without translation.
The story of Abia Uchenna and Abo Kenneth Chinedu is not the case of youths seeking greener pastures outside the country, but what can be described as victims of circumstance. They are computer science students who went to Croatia for a world inter-university competition where they lost at the second round. They decided to do some sightseeing before they leave the country, as their visas were still valid, when unfortunately they were apprehended by the country's police, who insisted they were migrants from Bosnia, where they were eventually transferred to and kept in a refugee camp.
They said, you came from Bosnia. I said, where is Bosnia? We are citizens of Nigeria. We came for a competition.
We have never been in Bosnia.
Did you show them your passport?
The passports were in our hostel.
It took the intervention of the Nigerian government through the Nigerian High Commissioner to Budapest and the chairman of the Nigerians in Diaspora Commission for them to be released and returned to Nigeria.
We have to call the people in charge and tell them our stories.
Their ordeal, however, is considered a lesson to many, especially the youth who see other countries as safe haven for a promising future, as against building Nigeria to the level they desire.
That no matter what the challenges are in Nigeria, home is home. Home is where you are a first-class citizen.
Abia Uchenna and Abo Kenneth Chinedu are just fortunate to have made it back to the country safely, but many are believed to still be out there in several countries with similar experiences, begging for their stories to be heard. In Abuja, Oyeyemi Ajayi, NTA News.
Let's now shift our attention to social and humanitarian services. The federal government is reviewing its strategies towards ensuring the sustenance of the gains achieved so far in the National Social Investment Program, which the government identifies as having lifted close to 5 million Nigerians out of poverty. This is the reason for a one-day interaction between the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development with the state focal persons of the program. Olabode Arewa tells us more.
That is Sarah Audu, one of the produce traders enjoying increased sales as a result of the federal government's National Social Investment Program, established in 2016 to reduce poverty and to ensure equitable distribution of resources to the vulnerable segments of the population. It has 4 pillars: the homegrown school feeding program, the conditional cash transfer program, the Empower Scheme, and the Government Enterprise and Empowerment Program, GEP. This meeting in Abuja is looking at ways of improving the program's effectiveness.
These aforementioned programs are some of Mr. President's strategy to lift 100 million Nigerians out of poverty. The present administration from the onset made investments in our people, which is one of the key goals of the Economic Recovery and Growth Plan.
Many countries do not believe that Nigeria will have that capacity to feed 10 million. But looking at the population and the commitment of the federal government, this is a reality, and we must commend the federal government for putting that also through.
A key takeaway from the meeting is the need to improve communication channels between the states and federal officials on progress made so far in the National Social Investment Program. In Abuja, Labodarewa, NTA News.
And out to business, the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, has reviewed downward most charges and fees for banking services in a new guide to charges by banks, other financial and non-bank financial institutions with effect from January 1, 2020, and calls on members of the public to acquaint themselves with the new rules. Director Corporate Communications to the Apex Bank, Isaac Okorafor, explained some of the major highlights of the new guide released, to include removal of card maintenance fee of all cards linked to current accounts, a maximum of 1 naira per 1,000 naira for customer-induced debit transactions to third parties, and transfers or lodgements to the customer's account in other banks on current accounts only. Other prominent features include reduction in the amount payable for cash withdrawals from other banks, automated teller machines from 65 naira to 35 naira after the third withdrawal within 1 month, an advance payment guarantee, which is now pegged at maximum of 1% in the first year and 0.5% for subsequent years on contingent liabilities. The new guide stipulates a one-off charge of 1,000 naira to the issuance of cards, irrespective of type, and no charge shall be required for prepaid card loading or unloading. Unstructured supplementary service data, USSD charges purchased with cashback will attract a charge of 100 naira per 20,000 naira, subject to cumulative 60,000 naira daily withdrawal, while maintenance fee on cards linked to savings account has been reduced to a minimum of 50 naira per quarter. Account maintenance fee will henceforth not be applicable to savings account, and the guide stipulates a penalty of 2 million naira per infraction, or as may be determined by the CBN from time to time for financial institutions that breach any provision of the guide. Now to border matters. To ensure and enforce total compliance on the ban on importation of rice by the federal government, the Nigeria Customs Service raids Mubi Market in Adamawa State and seized 100 bags of smuggled rice and arrested 3 people suspected to be involved in smuggling activities. Yusuf Jika reports.
It is without doubt that President Muhammadu Buhari banned the importation of foreign rice to encourage local rice production and take the pride in driving the economic and food security of the nation. Despite the ban, Mubi, a commercial nerve center of Adamawa State, still witnessed influx of smuggled rice in view of its proximity to neighboring Cameroon Republic. This, however, prompted the combined efforts of Nigerian Customs Service and police force to raid the market and made a seizure of smuggled rice, and as well made arrest of 3 persons alleged to have been involved in the prohibited act.
And we'll continue to do that so that this will serve as a clear warning to smugglers.
Residents of Mubi bear their minds on the operation carried out by men and officers of the Nigerian Customs Service.
That policy is good. So if we continue importing rice from other countries, automatically we are dying.
Though it's understandable that the government has banned the importation of rice, but why is the custom coming into the market?
What General Muhammadu Buhari is doing, he's doing a very good job.
In Yola, Yusuf Jika, NTA News.
to security, the Inspector General of Police, IGP Mohammed Adamu, has directed the Assistant Inspectors General of Police and Commissioners of Police in charge of zonal and state commands nationwide to ensure that no stone is left unturned towards effectively implementing appropriate crime prevention strategies before, during and after the festivities. In a statement, the Inspector of Police called for effective deployment of both human and material assets of the force in protecting the major highways, recreational centers, motor parks, places of worship, financial institutions, government and private infrastructures, among others. The IGP strongly warns police operatives, especially those detailed to man the highways, to desist from all forms of misconducts and abuse of the rights of the citizenry, as well as adhere strictly to laid down rules and standard operating procedures of the force. To correctional reforms, 19 inmates have been granted freedom at the Kuje Area Council Correctional Facility by the Presidential Committee on Correctional Reforms and Decongestion. This brings the total number of inmates released across the country to more than 4,000. The release of the inmates is part of the government's efforts at decongesting and reforming the correctional services to serve its purpose of integrating inmates into the society.
Behind the walls are cheers by some inmates when they heard the news that some of their colleagues are going home while they wait for their turn. Out of the 19 inmates that regained freedom, 8 were serving in for minor offences with option of a fine paid by various non-governmental organizations. After the cheers and appreciation, then came the heat from the chairman of the committee due to the lapses from some of the stakeholders in the justice sector.
2 years in prison, over 2 years in prison. All you are telling me of related stories. For hearing the testified to the reason, I don't know how long will you wait to be able to get.
With the capacity of 500, but currently housing more than 900 inmates, out of which more than 800 are those awaiting trial.
The significant thing about especially 2 of them that were released is that 2 of them, they have spent 13 years each.
Some of the inmates have been reassigned to other courts by the committee, while those who have no return day have given a date to return for the continuation of their cases to ensure speedy trial.
Nigerians have been advised to embrace the spirit of oneness and national cohesion to ensure peace in the nation. This was at a lecture delivered in Lagos during the Silver Jubilee celebration of Sarkin Fulani of Lagos, His Royal Highness Mohammed Abubakar Bambado II. Our Yusuf Jibo gives us an insight into the colorful event.
Community in Lagos and beyond came out in large numbers to celebrate the Silver Jubilee of His Royal Highness Sarkin Fulani in Lagos Mohammed Abubakar Bambado II. For the Fulanis and other well-wishers, there is indeed cause for celebration. This is because the 25 years reign of the royal father has fostered a more cordial relationship between the Fulanis and their host community, Lagos.
The journey into the future must certainly demand our collective determination to make a difference.
If it's been done in South, organized by Northerners, and also the Northerners in their base, celebrating with Igbos, Yoruba, and other tribes, it will also go further to strengthen our unity.
Speaking on the topic Pathways to Peaceful Coexistence and National Cohesion, policy analyst Usman Bugaji emphasized the importance of unity, which he says is key to national development.
By 2050, we will be well over 400 million, moving to 500 million, and that will make us the 3rd largest country in the world after India and China.
The event also attracted distinguished personalities from the public and private sectors who all showered accolades on the Sarkin Fulani for his amiable personality and outstanding leadership qualities.
He has been able to build bridges across every ethnic group in Lagos State.
There are people who come from outside of Lagos, they need leadership. So that responsibility is there to make sure people are properly guided.
A Doba was later held in honor of the celebrant. In Lagos, Awal Yusuf Jibo, NTA News.
Thank you, Awal. Barely 2 months after FAC got its antenna in Benin, another major market, Ecusa, has gone up in flames in the metropolis. Udwak Obong Achibang reports that the cause of the fire, which also affected a government facility, is yet to be ascertained.
Affected traders were seen scrambling to get themselves and their goods out of harm's way. Those who had already salvaged their goods were anxious to move them to safer grounds.
I just come market, I come buy something. After I buy the things finished now, I don't move front. Now here one woman, they shout fire, fire, fire.
No fighter now.
The situation became quite difficult and foul when traders were seen chasing off men of the fire service. The aggrieved people felt the fire service arrived so late that the fire had extended to an adjoining government property.
Break started some minutes past 11. When they placed phone call across to the fire brigade, they said no water. Now it has come to the state government property. They are ready to bring out the fire brigade.
Men of the Nigerian police force were on hand to control traffic even as the fire spread. In Benin, Udrakobong Achibong, NTA News.
Next is Sports Update with Kene Imagudike.